Welcome back, everyone. On this episode of Task Force Geek, we welcome three people who brought us the movie Elusive, now available on Tubi. We have Nick Sanford, who is the director and writer, Andrew McDonald, who co-wrote and edited the film, and we have BradChad Porter, who plays the character Wayne Nicholson in the film. We're also going to talk about the successful summer movie season and about She-Hulk twerking, and that's all coming up now. Welcome to Task Force Geek. My name is Dirk Cooper, and today we have Walt. Look, he's there. How you doing, Walt? It's been a while.
Let's see. The last time we were here, I was telling you about taking on a new job, and I'm just going to leave it at that.
And now you're talking about maybe something else with that job, right?
I don't know yet. We'll see.
I mean, maybe we shouldn't talk about that in public.
We shouldn't talk about that in public.
All right. Yeah, good. Tell me about your shirt.
Equality greater than vision. Got this on Melanin Products.
Interesting.
Melanin Products. It's also the same website where I got the I use no chemicals, only juices and berries shirt.
That's pretty deep stuff.
Yeah.
This is way too deep.
You can also get some McDowell stuff from there as well.
McDowell's? I heard, wait a minute. I heard that, oh, wow. We got to get out of this intro area. I heard that someone was suing. I heard that, like, the movie company that made Coming to America is suing someone who created a McDowell's restaurant in New York, right?
Yeah. They did sue them for that. And I think what it was, I think if I recall, I'll have to look into it. I think what it was somebody just did it as a one-time pop-up thing.
Oh, okay.
So,
but they don't want them to do that again, I guess.
Right. They don't want them to do that again.
Interesting. All right. Also, hey, look at that. We got a show here. Also, we have Andrew. Hey, how you doing, Andrew? You're muted out here, man.
Yeah, I'm good. Sorry, I didn't know, like Zoom calls, I just mute myself. But
that's all right.
Yeah, no, I'm doing good. I'm happy to be here.
That's good. You co-wrote and edited the movie Elusive.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Where are you located at?
I'm currently based in Chicago, but
really?
I'm based in Chicago, but I'm from Oklahoma City, and that's where we shot Elusive. So, we actually cut the movie remotely. Like, Nick was in Oklahoma City, I was in Chicago.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, I'm going to ask you all about that here in just a moment.
Yeah.
And also we have BradChad Porter, who stars in the movie Elusive. How about that?
That's right. I was very good in it.
You were so good.
You were great.
Academy Award nominee, BradChad Porter.
I'm sorry, I ignored everything that Adam said.
Nice.
Because I was located. I'm in Oklahoma City.
Okay,
I'm in Oklahoma City. I'm sorry, I was ignoring him because I wanted to verify my facts before I said it. It's ironic that Paramount would sue somebody for trying to have some
parody
fun with the McDowell's logo when they stole the script to the original film.
Right.
So true.
They lost a lawsuit in 1990 with Art Buchwald.
That's right.
Wow. That is, I had forgotten completely about that.
Feels like maybe don't be such a baby about your intellectual property that you stole from that guy.
Right.
What an amazing point. I'd forgotten all about that.
Sorry.
There's way too much stuff going on with a film that's 25 years old, something like that.
Older than that, I would say.
30 years old. It's out there. All right. And we also have the director of Elusive. Here he comes. This is Nick Sanford, who has been on the show before. How you doing, Nick?
Good. Sorry, I wasn't listening to anything Billy was saying. I was looking at all the drama.
What did I do?
Well, I see how tonight is going to go.
Awesome.
I see how it's going to be.
Did I call Andrew by the wrong name?
You called him Adam.
Did I really?
I thought you were messing with me. But
my next move was to tell you how much I miss you and how great it is to see your face.
Wow,
It's great to
that's
see
going to
you,
be
too.
a
I'm so
tough
glad.
sell after you get the name wrong.
I'm so glad I spent like a year and a half of my life working to make your performance as good as it is in the movie. No. I kid. BradChad's performance is fantastic.
I have no defense. I have no defense except for I'm dumb. I'm recovering from surgery, guys.
Surgery? Like
That
serious?
explains
it. A year and a half ago.
Surgery? Oh, okay.
No.
Still
I'm being
recovering.
an idiot.
Still recovering. Hey, Ashel says, salutations, mythical creatures.
Hello.
What
How you
Hello.
doing, Michelle?
What she called us last time. Thank you, Ashel, for chiming in there. Appreciate that. All right. Let's see. First up, we got to have a little housekeeping. If I can find the deal for it here.
This is my favorite part of the show.
Housekeeping. Housekeeping.
Come back later, please.
Housekeeping.
Not now.
All right. So housekeeping. Look, it's been a while since we've been on. My original idea is to take a couple of breaks each year so I can get caught up on some stuff. The original idea is for me to take off maybe, a month and a half, something like that. And then it was supposed to start in June, and then we had a couple of shows in June. And then I went to Dallas and took 16 sets of photos and got terribly behind on everything that you can imagine. And so what was originally supposed to be about a month and a half became like
Almost
2
3
more months. Yeah. So in any case, I'm mostly caught up now. I'm still not totally caught up. And here we are. And we'll be here again next week. I think I have someone lined up for next week. But after that, we're pretty much wide open. So if anyone has a Kickstarter campaign or they want to promote something or whatever, we're open for guests. And I know that we have some kind of regular contributors that are dying to get on and talk about stuff. I know Casey Jane mentioned some things that she'd like to talk about, and maybe some other people. So even if we don't have guests, my plan right now is to just keep doing shows. And this is episode 95. So we're only 5 episodes away from our 100th episode, which is supposed to be a big deal. And I'm still working on some graphics and stuff that I'm going to debut at some point. And it may be in the next few episodes, or it may be on episode 100, depending. But in any case, get in touch with us at taskforcegeek@gmail.com if you're interested in being a guest on the show. Also, right now, if you are watching us live, please share this feed to your feed. So if you're watching on YouTube, or you're watching on Twitter, or you're watching on Facebook, please share right now, because then your platform becomes our platform, and hopefully we'll reach some more people, and we will appreciate that very much. All right. That's it, folks. Let's get to our feature presentation. Here it comes. All right. We are here with these 3 fine gentlemen to talk about the Elusive movie. Welcome.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us here.
Just as a, I mean, I'm not going to tell you what the movie is about, but I will say that it is right now available on Tubi, which Walt and I love Tubi. So it's funny that you should, you should end up on there, because almost every episode we talk about something that we're watching on Tubi. Tubi, by the way, is free. You can go to Tubi right now, download that thing, and you can watch Elusive for free. Okay. So if you get interested during this thing, please do that. And also, I'm going to check with the 3 of you that there's other ways to watch it as well, right? You can go to the usual suspects and download it, like rent it and stream it. Is that correct?
Isn't it on Amazon?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can buy or rent it on Amazon. I think it's like $2 to rent, $4 or $5 to buy.
I mean, come on.
Yeah.
That's a great deal. Walt and I both watched it, and I mean, I don't want to speak for Walt. I enjoyed it. I thought it was funny. It's got a little heart at the end of it, which maybe a little surprise, and a lot of great characters. I'm at some point I'm going. Well, I guess I'm going to do it right now. I'm going to pitch that you all create like a television series where you fill out the rest of that town, and and we just see the adventures of all of these great characters that you all created.
Okay, but see, so this is my dream job, I think, because it's about the characters in the town, and I'm out chasing cryptids. So I could be like an Uncle Traveling Matt character who just shows up once an episode and is like,
right.
"Hey guys, I just got the Jersey Devil."
Right. There's so many. There's so many different cryptids you could be going for.
The 10 killer octopus.
Yeah.
That's right.
Which I just learned about 2 days ago, and it's come up in conversation like 3 times.
You got to be kidding me! Yeah, we
about a decade ago, I had some fake patches that were the Oklahoma Highway Patrol 10 killer octopus hunters. Had a scuba diver and a big octopus and everything on it. It's pretty cool.
It's a
That's
thing.
awesome.
Someone should do something on that. Ashell says, "Can't wait to watch it. Love Tubi." So there you go. There's one watcher. We got one. We've converted one person already. All right. So first up, what I'm going to do is speak with Andrew. So we're going to put him up here.
Oh, Andrew, my dear, close, personal, longtime friend, Andrew.
All right. Andrew's bio is he's edited 2 feature films, the second and most recent of which, Elusive. He co-wrote with director Nick Sanford. The first movie was Harvesters, correct?
Yep. I was I helped on the Kickstarter campaign that got that funded, and then I also acted in the Harvesters, and then that was the first feature film I cut. I was 24 years old.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let me ask you, where did you grow up, and how did you get into making movies?
Yeah. So I grew up in like kind of the Oklahoma City area, and I actually just kind of remember this recently, the very first sort of experience I had with making movies, because, this was back in like the high 8 days. I had no idea of how to get, like if I did shoot anything on a camera, I didn't know how to get it onto a computer. So the first real experience I had was just making like title credit sequences in Windows Movie Maker. And so I would just like pick a song off my hard drive, and then I would just like make little title sequences. And that was kind of my first instance.
Really?
Of just like...
Just for fun.
Yeah, like I made a ton of them of just like, oh, this is a movie that I would like to make, and then I just came up with like who the cast would be. It's all really cringy if I were to actually pull any of it up. But yeah, I started. So really, it was honestly, it wasn't Saw the movie. It was the Saw commentary with James Wan and Lee Winnell. Listening to those two just talk about, like, I think that was the first moment when I realized, like, oh, like kind of anyone can make movies, because you watch Saw and you're like, who the hell came up with this? And then it was just like 2 dudes in their 20s just like making fun of their own movie. And like the commentary I listened to, it's kind of nuts. It's only on the original DVD, because everything they've released after that was the unrated version. So this original commentary that I listened to that made me go, oh, I could make movies, it only exists on like the very first release of the movie. And I actually just recently bought it off like for $5 on eBay, because I just wanted to pull it up and listen to it again. But anyway, I started writing scripts when I was like 13 years old.
Wow.
And I just kind of taught myself, because it was right about the time when people were kind of like writing about screenwriting on the internet. And so I just kind of like taught myself like the format and all that. Started writing when I was 13, and then when I was 17, I saved up the money that I got working for a summer at the Warren Theater in Moore, and I bought my first video camera, and I just started making stuff with my friends. And then Nick went to high school with me. He was a couple of grades above me. He was the other guy who made movies, and we just ended up just kind of hanging out. He was in my stuff, I was in his, and the rest is pretty much history.
I am also a Moore High School alumnus.
Oh, that's cool. What year, if you don't mind me asking?
Oh my.
Okay, maybe I shouldn't.
It was a long time ago.
Okay, all right. We'll do that. Mine's getting further away by the year too. It's kind of depressing.
It was 1987.
Oh, well,
It was the last year before Moore split into Moore and Westmore.
Oh wow, yeah, that's a while ago.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Damn.
And now we have 3 schools here.
Yep,
For people who are outside of Moore who care.
Yeah, this is getting very specific, but my between my junior and senior years when it split from Moore to Southmore, and so like a lot of friends I had, like a lot of them graduated, and then a lot of them like went to Southmore.
Yeah. Tell me about the Harvesters.
Oh wow. Okay. So yeah, the Harvesters was. Man, okay, so yeah, Nick and I really, like, we were in each other's stuff, but, like, we really started working together. It was actually in 2013. There was originally a short film of Elusive that Nick, like, just kind of went out and, like, shot. It was these 2 guys just mostly doing improv, and he showed me an hour-long cut of it, and eventually he asked me, like, okay, this needs to be shorter. Can you help me? I helped him cut it down. I think we got it to, like, 20 minutes. And then then after that, he was like, hey, you want to write something with me? I was like, sure. We started writing this project, and we were like, this is going to be the next thing. And we're still trying to get it made. So it's like going on 8 years now since we started working on that together. But then at a certain point, we're like, okay, that's not going to happen. And so then Nick went off and wrote The Harvesters. And then we did a Kickstarter campaign for it. We raised over $33,000 in 30 days. I also just went through a job interview process where I had to talk about a lot of this, so that's why it's just all fresh on my mind and I can rattle it off. But yeah, on the Harvesters, yeah, we got it funded at the end of like February 2016. Got it done filming by the end of April 2016, and then I think I had a first cut of it done by I think it was Memorial Day 2016. So I mean, we just moved just insanely fast, and yeah,
That's like how they do it in Korea.
Yeah, it's got a 3.3 on IMDb so far. So
hey, that's good.
That's not bad.
Yeah, but I mean, it honestly, whenever I think about the Harvesters, I've actually like made this decision for myself. But I think the first tattoo I would ever get is the 3.3, like on my shoulder or something, because just kind of the more I think about it, like even though the Harvesters isn't like it doesn't match a lot of exterior modes of like success, it laid the foundation for us to make Elusive, because whenever I was setting out to edit the Harvesters, like the Venn diagram of like people who are professional editors and then people who like write about their experiences on the internet, that is just such a small sliver, of like people who have edited a feature film and write about it online. And then because most editors, like, they go to LA, they mentor, they apprentice, they're an assistant editor, for like 20 years before they get to edit a film. So I was just kind of having to find my way through the darkness and like kind of cobbling together, my own solutions for how to do this. And then when it came to Elusive and just having to go in blind with all that, I was like, well, what did I do with Harvesters? And so I just kind of went back and looked at, like the file structure, how I organized everything. And so, and it also it helped me understand just what it all took, like, how to organize the timeline, all that kind of stuff. So even though the Harvesters didn't reach, the type of success I think that we would have liked it to, it was still worthwhile because we learned so much from it, and it allowed us to go on to make a movie that I'm just insanely proud of and can stand behind without, any qualifications or anything like that.
What is Harvesters about?
Okay, yeah, maybe that was actually what you were asking, and then I gave
no, that's okay.
Everything else but that.
No, but, what you gave me was great.
Yeah, the Harvesters. Yeah, it's about a woman named Jane. She's a reporter in a small town in Oklahoma, and she just wants to get out, and so she has this job interview in New York City, and it's on Halloween Day, and a bunch of people start going missing from town, and so. Like while she's investigating it, she's also having to, confront her own beliefs about like, being impartial because she's a journalist, but also telling, like, it's basically the underlying themes of it are about like truth, what makes sense to you personally, but also like the considerations of, your audience or whatever that means. So it's kind of a spooky movie. It's got some spooky moments, but I think I can't remember. I came up with a term for it. I don't remember what it is right off the top of my head. But yeah, no, it's just kind of a chill movie.
Can you see it? Is it available somewhere?
Yeah, I think it's still on video. I think you can rent or I think it might be a little more than Elusive to buy, but I think Amazon Prime is where it's.
Rent by from $1.99 on Amazon.
Cool.
Awesome. Yeah, it was streaming on Prime for a little bit, but I think Amazon kind of like purged a lot of lower budget movies off of free with Prime.
I am hearing right now from the Nick is go ahead and tell people you'll know more than that.
Because I literally forgot about this until just now, but it actually, The Harvesters is playing at the Rodeo Cinema in Oklahoma City on October 20th. So
that's cool.
If you want to come see something that is very different than Elusive, but just that's your ticket.
I smoke. I have a vape pen in it, so that alone is worth the price of admission.
Vape pen has a bigger arc, I think, than any human character in the.
Vape pen and cargo shorts are the stars of that show.
Yeah, nice. I brought everyone else back out here because I want to say to Walt and to our other guest, if you have any questions for Andrew or for each other, please feel free to chime in. It's fun to get. I mean, you're gonna know things that I don't know, so by all means, if you want to follow up on something or whatever, then please jump in.
Sure. Andrew, I was curious. When did you change your name from Adam to Andrew?
Actually, it's
when
wild.
When did you do that?
It's wild that you picked that name because I've always thought if I had a name other than Andrew, it would probably be Adam.
Oh,
so
nice.
You're actually, yeah. And my parents, I guess I have a response for everything, but my parents couldn't decide between Aaron or Andrew, but it went better with my middle name, with Neil. And my dad named me that after Neil Young. So
nice.
Not Neil Diamond. Everyone always thinks Neil Diamond, but it's Neil Diamond.
Diamond is never at the top of my list. I'll just
tell us about how you got involved or how you got started with Elusive. Andrew.
Me? Oh yeah.
Yes.
With the with the short film, I was the editor on that, but we also ended up kind of coming up with a lot of bits in editing. We just kind of came up with after the fact. We'd be cutting something and we'd be like, oh, this would be funny, way to set this up. And so we'd have one of the actors re-record voiceover.
Oh.
And then I think there was some text-based jokes that we added in, and almost a great majority of some of the jokes that we kind of copied from the short to the feature are jokes that Nick and I came up with in editing. So one of the jokes was and I'm not going to give too many of them away, but there's an instance where someone asks if they can be on screen and anonymous, and then it gives their all their personal information,
all their deets.
From the show.
Right.
Yeah, and then there's one that definitely is spoiler territory, so I won't get too much into that. But the reveal of who a certain character is or isn't late in the movie, that was copied over from the short. But yeah, whenever it's actually funny. At the beginning of 2020, we were trying to get the script that Nick and I started working on in 2014. We had a pretty good beat on getting it funded, but then COVID hit and just all sources of funding just dried up. And so that kind of went on the back burner. And then just kind of over the course of, March 13th, 2020, I remember that was when a lot of the lockdowns went in place.
Mm-hmm.
I started making a little web series with my roommates called The Home Office. It's still up on YouTube if you want to go check it out. It's very early pandemic. It's very much jokes about working from home and stuff. It's weird to watch now, just knowing everything that's happened since. But
right.
But yeah, very early pandemic. It was just kind of a way for us to do something creative and entertain our friends and family. But around the time that we were kind of wrapping that up, Nick reached out and was like, "Hey, let's no one's funding a movie right now. There's just do one ourselves. Let's make Elusive. We can do it all outside. We can keep the cast small, and we can do it as safely as possible. And so we just started writing it over the course of that summer. And I think I got involved with it, like really started writing my like in like late May, early June. If Nick remembers differently, he can chime in because his memory is a lot better than mine. But late May, early June, and then I think we had like a shooting draft ready to go by August, and then we filmed it that November over a week.
How does the co-writing thing go? I mean, how does that work between the two of you?
Yeah, Nick, if you want to speak to any of this, you good?
No, well, I'm probably just going to say what you were about to say, but more concisely coming from you. I kind of wrote the first half, like, because we knew roughly where we were going. I don't think we really outlined it. I mean, we kind of talked about what we wanted to do, but when I hurt my back in May of 2020 and I was on a lot of pain pills, I started. I wrote my version up to a certain reveal, sent it to Andrew, and said, "You go nuts with it and do what you will." And then he did kind of his first full thing, and then we just kind of went back and forth and just made little minor tweaks, but. So it wasn't like we were in the same room, the way we have in the past. It was just kind of a bouncing back and forth, but it was still a lot of fun. Just my favorite thing ever is phone calls talking about just working out movie problems. But
how tough is it? Did both of you write? Look, the dialogue is really good in this film. I'll tell you, both of you, and comedy's not easy, and it's funny. So how is it that who did the comedy writing? Did you both do the comedy writing, and how much of it was ad-libbed by the actors?
So I think that the comedy, like, there is a lot of both me and Nick in there. I think terms of script to ad-libbing, honestly, it varies by the actor. So like, there are certain actors, and I don't know how much, Nick, you do or don't want to get into any of this. I'm fine to talk about it.
Yeah,
but okay, yeah. Like someone like Cherish Parker, who plays Deputy Sharon in the movie, and then the McAlevy's, John and Leslie, who play Brandy Mae and Austin. They pretty much stuck almost word for word to what we had written. And then you have actors like BradChad and Alex, who kind of like take what's there, and then they take it and they sort of add their own spin to it. But they still get at the heart of, kind of what the intent was. And then you have and then you also have Alyssa Jane Skaggs, who plays Bert. Bert is a character of very few words, so there wasn't much room for ad-libbing for Alyssa. But
right.
But then you have Mickey Reese, who did I wouldn't say that he did a ton of like ad-libbing. He kind of took what was on the page and just took it into a different like stratosphere. Because I'll go back and I'll look at the script and I'll kind of like read Randy's lines, and I'm just like, Jesus, like what Mickey did was just way funnier than one of my favorite lines in the whole movie was something that like was Mickey phrasing, and it was whenever Wayne asks if he can borrow his journal, and is swearing allowed on this
yeah, that's fine.
Live. Okay. And Mickey basically goes, BradChad asks, can we borrow this journal, like this journal that your great grandfather wrote, because it has information about Bigfoot in it? And Mickey goes, oh yeah, you want to borrow it just for a few days? That's a good idea. Let's just give it to him, huh? Our goddamn family heirloom. Like that was all Mickey. It's one of my favorite lines in the movie. I go back and I look at what was there originally. I'm just like, yeah, no, it's so much funnier. So but honestly, the writing on the page is one thing, but you need the actors to be able to like the life. And we got so fortunate, and I mean, all credit goes to Nick, our producer. Steven made just like, Steven was the one who suggested, wasn't he the one who suggested BradChad and Alyssa? and the McAleves. Like, I mean, Steven
Mhm.
has a really good eye for casting, and so we got insanely lucky.
Your cast is really good.
Yeah.
Especially for like John McAlevey and
This was
Leslie
double the movie because of your cast.
Yes, we got insanely lucky, and like someone like John McAlevey, we also went to high school with him. I actually acted in a play with him, and like from the moment I kind of saw him do his thing, I was like, this guy is like, he just has a ton of like raw energy and a ton of raw talent. And so whenever I found out that he was going to be, I was like, oh my god, this is amazing. And then his wife Leslie, I don't think like she's ever like acted before ever, and I mean she did phenomenally. Like you would never guess it was her first time acting.
I didn't know.
Yeah, and
That's
so
great.
and then like with BradChad, he's the one that's here, so I can talk him up. Like especially with the character of Wayne, we wrote it, at least I did, I think Nick did too. We wrote it with specific just kind of archetype in mind, and so we kind of wrote toward that archetype. And then whenever BradChad came in, he just played it with a vulnerability I was not expecting. And this is kind of random, but I ended up like running sound on set. Like that wasn't what was supposed to happen. It just wound up in a situation where someone, Andrew, can you run sound? And I was like, sure. And so during kind of a lot of those more intense scenes that happen like in the second half of the movie, I was the one standing there, like with BradChad. There was one instance, like the most intense scene of the movie, emotionally at least. It was just kind of like BradChad by himself, and then me just kind of standing right there with the mic, and it was incredible, just the energy of what BradChad was giving. And so whenever I got into editing, it's one of those beautiful moments where, because we hold on actors for a long, like there are certain shots here that go on for like minutes at a time, unbroken. And it's a testament to BradChad and especially Alex, because they're the ones who had to do most of the acting in those long takes, that they're just so good and they're so good together that it was never an instance of like, okay, which one's the best take? It's which one is the better of all of these fantastic takes, because their performance is so out of this world.
That's great. And
But,
I want to.
yeah, I feel like I've been talking forever, but yeah.
You've actually been answering all of my questions. Like I had a list of questions in my head. You've already gone through all of them. So I'm like, well, I can't ask that question because it's been answered.
Nick was nice enough to duck in here and cover for us for a minute. I just want to say before you go, Nick, I think that I also have to give credit to you as the director for actor directing, which is not an easy thing. And I think that, you can look at a film where a director doesn't know how to direct actors and how to get good performances or how to keep the ship going in the same direction. And you did a great job with them.
Well, thank you.
I just want you to know that, this is an actor. I think this is an actor film, and I think you did a good job with them.
Well, thank you. I got to give credit to, the whole cast, especially BradChad, who's the face of the movie, and then what Andrew did with it is really, he's kind of the heart and soul of the movie, the way he was able to piece it together. So they made me look good. I just while shooting, my job was to not get in anyone's way too much and just help steer the ship when it needed to be steered. But everyone, it was a very collaborative film, especially during the shoot. But yeah, these guys make me look good. So it's everyone. But I do appreciate that.
Yeah. Nick, I know you got to go. Thank you for being on again. We appreciate it.
It's fun. I wish I could stay longer, but I got somewhere I got to be at 8. But yeah, thank you for having me. And
I get it.
Pick these guys' brains because they're very smart. To do it in the car on the way to where I'm going. But
awesome.
Yeah. All right.
Thank you again.
Thank you for having me.
Right.
Nice to see you back here, Nick.
See you, buddy.
Yeah. Whoosh.
All right. I want to talk a little bit because we've had actors and we've had directors. We've never had an editor on. And I think that a lot of people who are into film and stuff might be interested in what the heck an editor does and why it's important to film. So can you explain to us what an editor is, Andrew?
Yeah, just kind of in its most basic, kind of fundamental definition. It's, I take in all the footage that they shot in production, and then I assemble it all into the finished movie. But I think more than anything, like just in terms of what an editor really does, is they make decisions. Like you're kind of, it's an old adage, but like you're writing the final draft of the movie. And so I think, and Elusive was different, I think, in a way that what, because we were so far apart, like we couldn't be in the same room, and it's a comedy. Like I ended up having to edit a lot of it for the first time by myself, and I found solutions since then that could have like helped me and Nick edit in real time. But basically what was having to happen is I would edit a 10-minute chunk of it, I would upload it, and then he would have to give me feedback from there. And so it was kind of a lonely process, because on the Harvesters we lived together. He could just roll on into my room, and like that was awesome. And so my experience on Elusive was a little different than the Harvesters, but really I think what I try to do, and most of my experience has been with Nick, so I don't have a ton of experience with other directors, to just help shape the movie into the form that Nick wants. Obviously, I'm also making, my own decisions. And honestly, like for me as an editor, I see my job, one of the most important things for me as an editor is to make sure that the actor's good, because an actor can give a great performance, but then the wrong editing can make that performance not as good. And so it's all, like, I always take it very seriously that, like, if there is an actor on screen, I want to make sure that I put their best foot forward, because, if the acting is like, if you ever see a review and they say that the acting isn't good, to me, I think that's also a critique on the editing. People just don't realize it, because if I ever see that in something that in the case of the Harvesters, like I did see a few reviews like that, and I take it personally because it's, it's their faces that are getting critiqued, right? Not my invisible cut. And so just having a lot of empathy for your actors is very important for me as an editor. But also just a sense of rhythm, knowing when to cut, when not to cut is almost just as important, especially in a movie like this, because it was something that was very important in, like, especially the later parts of the movie, that we hold on these two actors just kind of doing their thing. And that I didn't, like, now and then I would get a feeling of like, oh, maybe I could try to trim this. But at a certain point I had to just step back and go like, no, this is what felt right to the actors in the moment. This is how we intended to shoot it, was just as one long uncut take. And so I just kind of need to relinquish a little control. And I think if I hadn't also written the movie, if I was just editing it, I might have been a little frustrated, because at the beginning of the movie, there's plenty of editing to do, but you're not building scenes in the way that you do a normal movie where there's like coverage. There's an over-the-shoulder shot, there's a wide, that kind of stuff. In this movie, it was all, whenever we were writing, we had to think, okay, if there is a scene here, that means a character intentionally hit the record button. It's a mockumentary. Right. And so we had to think through that. And so whenever it got to editing, it was just kind of like putting those pieces together. And at a certain point, it did kind of feel like the movie was putting itself together in a way that it wasn't really on another movie. I hope this is all making sense. It's getting really kind of esoteric, but yeah, like basically just for me, having a lot of empathy for your actors, having a sense of rhythm, not being precious about anything, because a lot of times, you can put a lot of work into something on set. Something took a really long time to do, but once you get it into the edit, it's just not working. And so you have to, obviously there's a balancing act to do there. And I think a lot of times it's also just reassuring the director, because they worked really hard on set, and just making sure that, their movie is coming together in a way that makes sense and is, what's the word I'm thinking of, is fulfilling the vision that they had for it. Yeah, cohesive, yeah.
Yeah. I think editing is one of those roles in film that is kind of invisible, but also maybe the most important role. I mean, you can destroy a movie or you can save a movie with good editing, or destroy a movie with bad editing.
Exactly. And I think, like, the idea of editing being invisible, I think that it makes sense, like just to kind of let people get involved in the movie. But I also think some of the best editing, isn't invisible. That like it helps tell the story. Like if you watch like an Edgar Wright movie, you can feel the editing, and not every movie needs to be an Edgar Wright movie, and not every movie needs to be a Martin Scorsese movie. He's one like
Right.
Thelma Schoonmaker, one of my favorite editors. Like I love her, but I don't know. Like it's it's a very vital part of the story because it's telling. If you make a cut, it means that you are telling the audience, okay, you need to stop paying attention to this and now focus on this. And so anytime there's an edit, it basically don't take any edit lightly, like, because you're diverting the audience's attention.
Mhm.
And yeah, I kind of ran out of steam. But
No, that's great. Look, like I said, we've never had an editor on here before, and I think it's an incredibly important part of the movie making process. And I think that it's highly misunderstood. I mean, I think a lot of people don't really understand. They just think it's, I would say like in comics, you have a penciler and you have an inker, and most people think that everything is penciler. Well, the inker has a lot to say on the subject as well. It's not just tracing lines. And, I think that editor is very much an important part of that process as well.
Yeah. I've never had the chance to talk much about it. So kind of why I'm like, how do I talk about
Oh,
this?
great. Yeah, great. BradChad, you've been so good to let us talk here. And I want to get you in on this. Tell us a little bit about how you got into stand-up comedy.
Well, like most people, I committed some crimes and needed to run for government.
Yes.
And there's not a better way to do it than to stay one town ahead of them. No, so I guess I always wanted to do comedy. My mother tells me that when I was 4 years old, I told her that I was going to replace Johnny Carson as the host of the Tonight Show.
Nice.
Wow.
By the way, they filled that job several times and nary a phone call to BradChad, but whatever. But yeah, it's just kind of something that I always wanted to do. And when I found myself at a kind of a crossroads in life at about 30 or approaching 30, I was like, why not? And then it ruined my life.
The end.
Yeah.
Well,
I guess ... We'll see.
Well, I've got a question for you, BradChad.
Yeah.
And many Texans down here want to know this. When are you suing Ted Cruz for stealing your look?
That is the meanest thing anyone's ever said.
Wow.
This came up in the whenever you talked to Nick the first time.
Because whenever I tell everybody, I'm like, yeah, we're gonna be interviewing somebody from the movie Elusive and everything. They're like, what's that? And I tell them about the movie, and I send them the trailer, and they're like, why is that dude looking like Ted Cruz? I'm like, no, why is Ted Cruz looking like that dude?
Yeah. Right. I've had this beard for a very long time.
Like I said.
He's all weirdly pandemic new with it, and
you
can just cut it off.
Yeah, and that's what I tell everybody. So
I will say that the only thing that causes that reaction is the beard. If I cut it off, I look like one of those big, scary Eastern European dudes from Barry.
Oh my god!
I love that show. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Me too. Until I look at a bald face and go, "Oh no!"
I gotta go there.
I think I stabbed.
I
stabbed Stephen Root in the thigh.
Right.
That's great. It's great stuff.
Ashell wants to know what's the story behind the name BradChad.
So in college, I kind of like telling the story because so in college, when I started school, I went to a very small Bible college, and I thought it would be funny to lie to everybody about what my name was, like on the first day. Just give everybody a different name and see how long it takes for that to come crashing down. And I was, that's the kind of thing I like to do when I'm nervous. So I did that, and then I went into my psych class, my like intro to psychology class,
Right.
and the instructor, Miss Iquenta, who I love dearly, to this day, um, she had a son that goes to this very small college, so she was aware of me already, and she's going through my actual name is Michael Bradley Porter. So she's going through the role and she says, Michael Porter. And I said, here. And she said, I thought your name was Chad. And I said, actually, it's Brad. And that got a little pop in the room. And then I said, but I go by Chuck. And so, so then every day she would, while she was getting to know all the students' names or whatever, she would call the roll. And when she got to my name, it was like Brad, Chad, Chuck, whatever your name is. And then it just got shortened to BradChad, and it stuck. And then I had no intention. Like, you know how you're weird in college?
Right.
Yes.
So I thought, okay, well, then I'm just going to do. I did things like I went to school, and I think I started there in 97. So this was back at a time when it was very, very hard to get the yellow pages or the white pages to change your name.
Oh, yes.
Right.
And I went through all the steps and got my name all but legally changed at the time, which was way more complicated then than it is now. And I was getting mail to BradChad. Like, that's I had taken on this just being a weirdo. And then when I started comedy, I had no intention of, I mean, I was going to go by Brad, which is what most people call me who know me. And then I signed up for my first open mic as BradChad, just accidentally, just wasn't thinking about it because that's how I signed my name all the time. And the host of the show that night didn't say it. Like, wouldn't say it. It was, I guess, too weird. And they were like, Brad or whatever, Porter.
It's comedy.
That's right.
I mean, what's the...
So I was offended because I was like, what if that was my name?
Right.
So I just got up there and did it. And then for spite, I signed up as BradChad for all the open mics for the first month.
Love it.
And then when I would, at whatever point, was like, well, I should probably stop doing that. By then, BradChad Porter was already like the first established 7 pages of Google. Yeah.
Yep.
Nice.
And I was like, well, I mean, here we are.
There it is. Tell us about Rodeo Cinema.
Rodeo Cinema is a art house theater. We have 2 locations, one in Stockyard City in Oklahoma City and one on Film Row in Oklahoma City, just inside downtown Oklahoma City.
I mean, wait a minute, those are kind of close together.
They're about 4 or 5 minutes apart.
Okay. All right. What's the difference between the 2 of them?
Well, here's the reason that the locations are where they are. They're both about 100 years old. The Rodeo Theater opened in 1924. That's probably not quite right. And our Film Row location is an actual it's an actual screening room from the Film Exchange era.
Oh, okay. They had a refurbish on that.
Yeah.
And that's where I read an article about it. I didn't realize this.
That location is in the Paramount building.
Okay.
Named such because that's where Paramount would screen their movies for regional theater owners. And they did it that way from the 1920s all the way up to 1983. I believe
that is so cool.
83. The last, whatever year Raiders of the Lost Ark came out. That was the last film.
81?
Is it 81? What I should probably be able to answer these questions. But that's the last film that screened for theater.
Anyone out there know when Raiders came out?
Hang on a second.
Hey, I'm asking Father Google right now. 81.
Hello to look at that. Who wins? Ding ding ding.
Anyway, The film row location is the last. It's the last remaining theater, last remaining screening room from the film exchange era in the world.
Wow.
That we're aware of. We've tried. It's kind of hard to prove a negative. It's kind of hard to be sure that they're all closed or they're all. But ours is the only one that's still a movie theater.
Are you doing? Did you say you're doing art films at?
So we do first run independent and art films.
Okay.
So they're new movies, but they're not big movies. They're
This is relevant to my interests. I should be going there.
Yes, every week. By the way, I have to tell you, I met the best people in the world. There's this older couple that comes in on Thursday afternoons at the Stockyards location, and I love them dearly. And if you had any way of identifying with them, I would be sharing way too much information. They are retired, and their whole life is watching movies. They watch 5 to 6 movies every single week.
Wow. That is cool.
On Wednesday nights, they go to Flicks because they have a $5 movie that's curated for them.
All
Then
right.
on Friday and Saturday, on Thursday and Friday, they go to Harkins, which is here in Oklahoma City. It's in Bricktown. And they see a Bollywood movie each night because those are their favorite movies.
Wow.
Awesome.
And then Saturday and Sunday afternoon, they go to Tinseltown, which is a Cinemark here in Oklahoma City.
That's still open?
That is still open.
Cheap movies.
It is still open.
Super cheap movies.
It's a little stabby, but they go.
You might want to go in there with SEAL Team 6.
Or follow their lead and go on the weekends during the matinee time.
Right.
It's a little more, bright
idea.
outside.
Yep.
Anyway, they go there to see like the first, like the blockbusters, the big movies as they come out on Saturday and Sunday in the afternoon, and then they come see me on Thursday to watch whatever we're screening, whatever indie thing we're screening.
That's one of the coolest things I've ever heard.
That's the life I want. If that's all I want.
No kid.
In fact, that's how I'm going to do the math to figure out when I can retire. Is how much does it cost me to go to 5 or 6 movies every week?
There you go.
I think that's a great plan.
That's excellent.
They're my favorite people.
It's a lot cheaper than mine, which is just retire to Tokyo. So
that might be as expensive a retirement as you can come up with.
Okay, so tell me about how you got involved. Oh, wait a minute. Before we go any further, this is terrible. We're 15 minutes into this, and I haven't asked this question. Please, someone describe what the hell Elusive is about. I can't believe we haven't asked the big, question from space.
I'm going to let Andrew do it
Okay.
because I'll use yours as a framework to avoid spoilers.
Okay.
Good. Yeah.
So yeah, it's about a delusional documentary filmmaker played by Alex Sanchez, who is following around a mysterious cryptozoologist played by BradChad, Wayne Nicholson, and they are just basically we modeled it like intentionally after the 90s era of mysteries. Like if you watch it, I mean, we just straight up ripped it off in a very loving.
The title's very Unsolved Mysteries, and so is the music.
Yes,
and so is particularly the beginning, the editing, and so on.
Yeah.
Yes, that Nick actually, before we had the final music, before I even created the title and everything, I had like the first 45 seconds cut, and he put it to the Unsolved Mysteries music. It was like perfect, and I like we don't use temp music when we cut. Like that's something that we learned actually on Elusive Short. We don't use temp music whenever we edit. We like each scene needs to stand on it, and yeah, whenever he sent that to me, I was high at the time, and I looked at my partner Cherish, who it's the same Cherish who's in the movie. And I was just like, Cherish, I made an episode of Unsolved Mysteries, and it was just so cool. And the reason why was because Nick was like, oh, it's like Unsolved Mysteries whenever we were writing it. And I'm like, oh, well, if this is the movie that Jimmy made, because that's the conceit, is that the movie you were watching is the movie that Jimmy Jimmy the character eventually makes. That was very important to me, like as we were writing it, like anything and everything that Jimmy would have put in the movie is here. And so I was like, yeah, Jimmy would have just like straight up riffed off Unsolved Mysteries, would have done like the same logo, the same music, all of it. So anyway, got a little off track, but yeah, they go around and they're looking for Bigfoot, and they interview quirky locals who have agendas of their own. So yeah, that's about all I'll say about it. I think in terms of spoilers, BradChad, anything in the first half of the movie, I think is, and I don't think it's it gets kind of emotional, but yeah.
Yeah, it's got some, like I said, it's got some heart in it. I don't want to talk so much about that because it's better to just watch it.
Right.
But
yes.
So BradChad, how did you get involved with Elusive?
So, as with everything that I've ever done of any significance, somebody better dropped out.
Oh.
Okay, I can speak to that more, but go on, BradChad.
And they kind of at the last minute were like, "Oh man, we want to, this is like." I got the call from Stephen Patchen, one of the producers, that they wanted to see me do a few things on camera because there's this role, and I can't really tell you much about it, but do a couple of these things on camera for us so I can show them that you're right for this.
Mm-hmm.
And I did, and it was weird because and it's, I mean, I'm used to people asking me to do weird stuff. That's kind of my life, but I was a little bit like, why do they want to see this exactly? And then I was lucky enough to get it. And then when I actually read the script, I was like, oh, okay, I get this guy. So I kind of agreed to do it just because Steven's a friend. And I was like, he's not going to put me in something dumb, right? And then I got the script, read it, and was like, oh, thank God. Because he would totally put me in something dumb. Like he would definitely do it.
So you get the script and it's put in front of you. As an actor, what do you do to get ready for this role? I mean, because this is kind of a complex role. There's a lot going on here.
I was less worried about me. I felt like when I read the script, I understood this guy.
You got it.
There's a guy who does some crazy shit.
Right.
And he does it because this big thing has happened and it made things weird with his son.
Yeah.
That's all I'm willing to tell you.
Yeah.
I have a trans kid, and I am super familiar with, like, when this big thing happens, you got a kid and they come out as transgender and you're like, oh, I don't understand any of this. And then I've got to learn and grow alongside this kid or whatever. But you feel this separation happen. And you're like, this thing is making everything hard. And you don't realize that, your kid is 13 and they're growing up and that's what happens. It has nothing to do with the thing.
Right.
And that kind of weirdness, that sort of uncertainty can cause you, true story, to do really stupid things. And so when I read about this guy who's decided to chase Bigfoot with his life, I was like, I know, I get it. I totally get it. So
that's interesting that you found that angle from your own life to kind of capture that.
From my perspective, I am that dude. I mean, I've not done exactly the things he's done, but I've done some real stupid things.
Well, that was actually one of my questions: is how much of Wayne is in you?
That was easy. That was just under the surface.
How would you describe Wayne?
I was scared of the movie though, because it's an ambitious movie. It is. It's we keep dancing around trying to avoid spoilers or whatever, but it's an ambitious movie. It's like a movie inside a movie inside a movie, and it's not. It is. And it wasn't until I saw it cut together that I was like, "Oh shit, they made it work." All right.
I think that was a lot of people's experience. Yeah.
Because the more I knew about the movie, I was like, I mean, I'm in, guys. Let's do it. Let's have some fun. But I can't see how you pull this up. And I would say, like, I've been around a lot of productions. I haven't been in a lot of stuff, but I've been around a lot of productions and know how different the end result is from the script in most cases. This thing is real close. Like, this thing is tight, and I think, and obviously it comes from the same guy who's cutting it together was the guy who wrote it, but that also doesn't always mean anything. And I feel like this movie fits together the way that it fits together because it's the only way to fit this set of facts together in a way that makes sense. Honestly, I mean, I thought it was like watching a magic trick. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
I don't know how you did that, but well done.
I will say, that big reveal. I was like, what? In my head just kind of goes. And then it went from like sitting there laughing and joking around to sitting there like, and I'm sitting there like this, the movie, there's still some little chuckles in there, but I'm still just like, whoa, I got like really deep into it. So
I love to hear that.
Guys. Hats off to you guys.
Yeah,
And
that was
structure.
Oh,
the
sorry.
structure and the framing is really unique on this film. The way that you frame the whole thing, and it becomes kind of 2 or 3 different things throughout the course of the movie. It's difficult to stick that landing, but I think you did.
And
Awesome.
for me, like watching it and not being embarrassed of it was a really big deal for me. Because hey, I've got a lot of embarrassing stuff running around out there acting like it's what I do. And B, because like when I finished, Nick deserves a ton of credit for handling me like a person, because like every take of this film, every moment you see me on film was followed by that was dog shit, right? Just tell me it's bad. Just tell me it's bad so that I can know where we're at. Stop lying to me and saying this is going well. I'm terrible at this. And action. I was so insecure about the whole thing. And when I walked away from it, I was kind of like, all right, so regardless of what this turns into, regardless of what this looks like at the end, that is the best I can do. Like, as an actor, if you think that sucks, then you think I suck. If you watch it and you're like, that's pretty good, that's what I am. I am pretty good. Like I am.
So you think it's authentic? You think that what ended up on film was authentic?
That is my level of acting. That is how good this movie demonstrates how good an actor I am at this moment, because it is exactly everything I was capable of.
I think you're phenomenal, BradChad. Just absolutely phenomenal.
I was fishing for that. It took a while, but I appreciate you coming
along. You get that script. How much of the script did you stick to, and how much of it did you ad lib in the moment?
So I didn't ad lib anything, but I did kind of round out the edges. Like, people just talk differently, and I might have changed words I try not to change any like signal words, any words that actually mean something in a sentence. I tried to only change like the thes and the as and the ases and the ifs, but like not the like, yeah. So it's pretty close. Like, if you go back and you were to look at a scene and read, you would, I mean, it's yeah.
Close.
Yeah, nothing fundamentally changed. But I will say that ad-libbing with Cherish was about the most fun I've had doing improv ever. And there are some moments that are that were recorded that should find their way to some sort of DVD release.
Yes, so yeah, early on, whenever they're looking at, like, they find a set of BigFoot tracks, and it's Deputy Sharon and Wayne, and they're talking. unfortunately, just because of the way the movie was structured, it just it didn't make sense to put the audio there. But they did record the scratch audio. I think the camera crew didn't realize that they were, and so you can hear it. And I've actually have uploaded the video like privately to like share with everyone on the crew and stuff, because it's phenomenal what he and Cherish did. And honestly, one of the biggest regrets I have is not getting those two in scenes more so they could play off each other.
We really do. I really do think that. I mean, I would like to be in a room with her, and the only rule is, all right, you're both very dumb. Go.
She loved improvising with you too. Like, she loved it. She's literally right here shaking, nodding her head.
Because I cried. I laughed so hard. I just dumb, like special dumb. Just the both of us saying things that were dumb on a sublime way, just sublime stupidity.
I love it. It was a joy to watch.
Maybe that's a movie all onto itself.
Exactly.
Right,
I mean,
wanted. Yeah,
there's your next project.
If we do a sequel, I want, like, we basically joked that if there's a sequel, Cherish is going to show up as just completely different character. Bruce Campbell in the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies is just never acknowledged. And so if we ever did make a sequel, I would whatever character is playing next, I would want her to have plenty of screen time with Wayne for sure.
Yeah.
BradChad, your character is the heart of the film. Does that put more pressure on you, or did you enjoy kind of that?
I was panic stricken from the moment I said yes to the moment that I saw a cut of the film. I was panic stricken. I
you know what?
Not imagine how they made such a bad judgment.
If you suck, the whole film tanks.
And I'm not gonna. I mean, nobody's complaining about nothing here. I'm just saying there are a lot of long monologues.
Yeah.
With me looking directly into the camera.
Yeah.
And it's just nothing. It's just, I do comedy. I say jokes and people laugh. That's the process. And when silence means you're failing. And so I'm looking at a camera and I'm talking for like 4 or 5 minutes at a time. And I'm just like, that cut. Okay, so that was document, right? Let's do it again. How many do you need? How bad was it? Please tell me. Please just say it's bad so we can move on. So
the audience really has to buy in on. I mean, they have to like you.
Yeah,
right.
That's integral to the film.
Yeah,
and so everyone buys in on you. That's a lot of weight to hold.
Imagine my panic because I can't get people to do that in real life. So now I'm pretending to be someone that I think maybe people might actually like. And it was a lot. From the minute I said yes to the minute I saw a cut of the film, I was scared. And I feel like I may have assaulted Andrew when we saw each other for the first time. And I might, he might have a case because I was just like, thank you so much. Oh my God. I was scared. Thank you so much for not making me look like a stupid idiot. I was afraid. I was very afraid.
You guys shot during COVID. What was that like?
So Cherish was also the the COVID coordinator, and she took that job very seriously. And I was not a fan for most of the shoot. I mean, it was constantly like masks. Sorry, it was constantly like we took it extremely seriously. I couldn't be more grateful that we did. I've somehow managed to get through this whole thing without getting it.
That's
good. I know. And that was a good chance to do it. That was a real good chance to do it. And I was so grateful that it went the way it went and that nobody got sick. And that, just having everybody take it so seriously made me feel much more comfortable than in any of the other ways I was out in the world.
Okay, go ahead.
So just a feather in Cherish's cap. Not a single person on the production got sick, not even old. And then just kind of a crazy tidbit is that we actually had a different actor lined up to play Bert, but they like the day before we were supposed to shoot their stuff, that person came down with COVID. And so Alyssa Skaggs, the person who plays Bert in the film, found out about it 48 hours before they were supposed to show up to set. And if you watch the movie and you see Alyssa play Bert, you would never guess, because like whenever she showed up on set, I mean, it was uncanny. I couldn't believe it. Like, it was exactly what Nick and I had pictured in our heads. Like, it just, yeah. Whenever
Sometimes
I say
it's
that we
just
got
meant to
so
be.
lucky with our cast, yeah. Whenever I say we got lucky with our cast, we got so insanely lucky. They're phenomenal. But anyway, yeah, that was just a little COVID trivia nugget.
To both of you, the next questions are for both of you. What's it like having your film out there? Either one of you can take that.
Well, like I said, I've had some things out there. I've got a comedy album from 2010 that I really wish I could find a way to get off of the internet entirely. There are lots. Like, I've had a lot of, I've done a lot of things that have failed, and I've done a lot of things that worked at the time but don't age well. I've got a lot of that running around out there, and to have, I just like this movie. I just unashamedly like this movie. Can I, if I put my critic's hat, can I find problems with the movie? And do my friends hold back at all when they criticize the movie? To me, no, they don't. But I like it. I like this movie. I think it's funny. I think it's clever, and I think it actually finds a way to have a heart in a stupid Bigfoot movie that starts with a Bigfoot orgy.
And and Cornut should give you all some sort of
That's right.
endorsement,
maybe,
or
yeah,
maybe
a little endorsement
maybe
deal.
some change, for endorsing
I've
them.
thought about corn nuts a hell of a lot more in the last 2 years than I have in the
Yep.
previous decade or so. So
It's an important part of the film.
And I will
Not
say,
nothing.
the picante flavored corn nuts are my favorite. So
yeah, I'm
Maybe
gross.
if they want to sponsor us.
yeah,
I'm gross person, just a generally gross person. So don't go by me. But man, I liked the ranch ones.
yeah, I'm not
Ranch
sure.
ranch.
Ranch sounds good.
Like, stick them in my mouth and like suck all the powder off of them, and then then regret it bitterly immediately.
Whenever I get those little variety packs, those are the first ones to go, because I like to save the best for last. So
Yeah.
Andrew, how does it feel to have the movie out there?
I mean, it's been fantastic. This is the first, movie that I had something to do with the writing of it. And, whenever you set out to make something, you just want people to connect with it. And like, this isn't a movie for everybody. And actually, it's kind of hilarious. The very first, like the world premiere screening, we actually screened it at the Film Row location of Rodeo Cinema. So in this like tiny little screening room, and it was like we got a packed house. And I think BradChad and kind of like all of your friends and family were like kind of right up front. And then in the back, it was a bunch of like plumbers and stuff, because if you watch the movie, you would be able to make the connection, like, plumbers might like this. But within the first 10 minutes, because the first 10 minutes features a reenactment of a Bigfoot threesome, and it just became very clear very quickly who this movie was not for. So it was just like our world premiere screening. Like BradChad and everyone kind of up at the front was just having the time of their lives. Meanwhile, like I was sitting in the back row. It was just like crickets throughout the whole movie. And Nick and I were planning to like go up at the end to do like a Q&A. And Nick, as he was getting up during the credits, he was like, "You want to come with me?" And I kind of left him out to dry. I was just like, "No, I'm not going up there. I'm not going up there." I made him do that by himself. I know it's not one of my proudest moments, but I just...
Did you see some tomatoes that they were hanging on to?
That's the thing.
Or?
Yeah, I didn't know, like, because with a crowd like that, there is some stuff in the movie that would make whoop our ass. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's
Maybe.
so... It just gets so kind of crazy
Maybe.
and wild a little bit. But yeah, like it was also really instructive because we, discovered kind of who
what jokes landed and
yeah, because at some of my better moments while we were cutting it, I was just like, "Oh, there's no way anyone could see this and not fall in love with it." I was cured of that notion very, very quickly. This is just not a movie for everyone. But the people who have liked it have loved it, and that has just been incredible. The reviews for this that I've seen so far, IMDb and like Amazon and stuff, it's clear that it does resonate with people, and that's just so great to see, because especially just whenever you're making something, especially like a movie where it takes years, you're just constantly like, it's just a guessing game, right? And like,
Sure.
especially while shooting it, like a lot of people had that experience of they just didn't really know what it was. I think the movie kind of only existed in mine and Nick's brains until we finally had a version to show people. And so to hear, someone like BradChad be like, someone who worked on the movie, that he didn't fully see what we were trying to do with it. And then to see like, oh, it makes sense now. Like it's just cool to hear, because it's a weird movie. It's an ambitious movie, like BradChad, and the fact that it will work for anyone at all is just phenomenal. So in that way alone, it's a success for me. And I, like BradChad, I've seen this movie probably more than anyone else. I'm still not sick of it. Like I can just pull it up and watch it, and I'm just insanely proud of it.
Like I said, I've watched it 3 times now.
wow.
Oh wow, I didn't hear that before. That is awesome.
I watched it 3 times.
That's amazing.
What you dipped into my next question, which is, what was the kind of the critics' reception of this, and what have you personally heard from people? Both of you, please.
Well, my friends are hard on it because my friends are hard-ons. That's all they do is criticize.
They break your balls.
Yeah. So I don't take any of that seriously. I will say that people who I don't. Okay, so here's what happened. I'm the box office manager at Rodeo Theater, right? We were shorthanded the week that Elusive ran at the theater, and so I worked the Sunday, the last day that the movie ran. I was working concessions.
So I'm about to say, are you working concessions?
I'm just working concessions.
You're the guy in the movie and you're working concessions.
The pandemic's been tough, and I was shorthanded, and I was like, well, no one's coming in. I guess I'll do it.
Wow.
So I was working concessions, and people were coming in, and they were like, is this a BigFoot movie? And I'm like, yeah, it's a BigFoot movie. I was like, actually, it's locally produced. They did a really good job. And they're like, really? And I'm like, yeah. Guy in it's a piece of shit, though. Like, the real. Like, ugh, he was. And they kind of looking at me like, why would you say that?
You're such a mean person.
Then they come out of the movie and they're like, I get it. But in that last screening, there was a lady there, and she brought like her whole family. It was like a family of like 6 people who came to watch the movie together. And they're leaving, and they're like, "Hey, can we get a picture?" And I was like, "Okay." So I'm taking pictures, and so she just says to me, one of the producers of the film taught my film studies class at OCCC, mentioned that this was coming out, and that's why we're here. And I was like, "Well, welcome to Oklahoma Film."
Right.
The star of that movie sold you milk duds on the way in. Welcome to Oklahoma Independent.
You guys name drop OCCC in the film.
Yep.
Yes, we do.
Which I think is kind of funny.
Yeah, me and Nick both, and Steven, I think, we're all alumni of the OCCC film program. So we had
people do not. I took filmmaking at OU back in about 1990 or whatever. And by the way, it was terrible. It was terrible. We got the hand-me-downs from like the journalism department, and they gave us like a wheelchair to do like tracking shots.
No.
I mean, it was terrible. It was terrible. And so anyway, after that, much later, I went back to OU, and Gray Fredrickson was teaching classes on film production. And through that, I found out that OCCC had blossomed into this incredible film community where not only were they teaching people, but they were, I mean, like, seriously producing films and building up stuff. And now, I mean, I don't know how many people know this, but Oklahoma City in particular has become this huge filmmaking community where, like, everything from very small films to Christian films to big productions like the Tulsa King and Killers of the Flower Moon are doing like these this huge productions and stuff where these big they said that at one time
Dogs. Yeah.
right at one time Oklahoma, because of COVID and because of our somewhat relaxed rules on COVID, that we were doing the biggest production in America right here.
Wow.
Which is pretty amazing for if you've grown up in Oklahoma and you've watched what's happening. So I think that shouting out OCCC was very apt, and I think people should know about it because it has become quite a phenomenon, I think.
Yeah. And just a correction, Chris Butcher, our other producer, that's how we met him, was actually through OCCC. So I just had to make sure that he was credited as well.
Yeah, very cool. Brian James says, Mr. Hooper, you and Walter giving a command performance tonight. He's always with the happy talk. So to the two of you, what's your best sales pitch for this movie? If people have been watching this, they need to know, why do they need to see this movie? Please make an impassioned plea.
It's funny. It's clever. It has a heart, and it's way more of a movie than it lets on.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yep.
Also, Andrew, it's free on Tubi
It's free.
It's free on Tubi.
I mean, Walt and I literally, if anyone should be forget about corn nuts. If anyone should be a sponsor, it should be Tubi. We literally mention Tubi every episode because it's,
guys,
it's free.
I'm an animation nerd, and I am just swimming in old cartoons.
Yes,
on Tubi.
That's what we're watching.
Yeah,
that's what we're watching.
If I'm not watching Tubi, I'm watching the local news and Monday Night Wrestling.
I just worked my way through Private Snafu, the World War II propaganda shorts. By the way,
wow.
all but like 3 of them are on Tubi. And we were just awful.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I think we're awful now, but man, when we're in a fight, apparently we're just dicks. It was bad.
Yeah.
But Mel Blanc's
that made it into Looney Tunes also, that sort of stuff. So if you, I don't think you can even see those anymore.
You can, if you do a deep dive on YouTube, you can find those on.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. If you actually, one of my favorite things to do is count the missing episodes on HBO Max. If you go to HBO Max, I don't know why they did this, but if you go to HBO Max and you go to the Looney Tunes, the original Looney Tunes, they have it listed as a television series, and each short film is listed as an episode. And it starts with season 1, episode 12. Meaning there's 11 of them that, maybe we shouldn't probably. And then the next one is like episode 15, where you're like, okay, that's those are the Bosco ones. Like,
how many, if they're doing episodes, how many do they have total there? Do you know?
Oh, I don't know what the episode count is, but it's several seasons of
it's massive.
Many cartoons.
It'd have to be a lot.
It's massive.
It is. It's voluminous.
Andrew, do you have anything else to add as far as the sales pitch for the movie?
Yeah, basically, go into it. You'll probably, whatever you think about it in the first 15, 20 minutes, the movie will eventually turn on its head in some way. Especially about halfway through, Nick. Yeah, like Nick and I, like we intentionally were like, we just kind of want anything and everything that the audience might think is going to happen. We just want to do all of it and then just turn on a dime halfway through, and then you're just not going to know what to expect for the rest of it. So yeah, if you like being surprised by movies, that's kind of an issue I have with a lot of bigger movies lately, is that they just don't hold many surprises for me
By the
anymore.
books.
Yeah, like not every movie. There are outliers, but and like indie movies, whatever. But yeah, if you like a movie that'll just surprise you, even whenever it feels like there shouldn't be a twist anymore, where like things are winding down, we find a way to just still pull the rug out from under you. So yeah, just it's a really good movie. I really love it. I'm genuinely just a fan.
Walt, do you want to say a few things about the movie? Since
Oh,
you've seen it 3 times.
Like I said, there's some really good funny moments in this movie, and then like they said, it turns. You know, there's a big moment, and the mood of the movie changes, and you get really wrapped into it. So you know, and plus, you know, I like Bigfoot movies. I have to say, you know, I was watching it on Tubi, and I was telling Dirk this earlier. I was like, I got sucked into the rabbit hole because there were more Bigfoot movies that came on after that. And I was like, I watched like 2 or 3 more different Bigfoot movies after that. So I was like, so yeah, it's a fun ride. It's a fun ride.
By the way, on Tubi, if you put in Elusive on Tubi, the first dumb thing that comes up is like a documentary about like something like it's cryptid related. It's like cryptids in it's Europe
Bigfoot
or something.
In Europe. Yeah, it's Elusive Bigfoot Abroad. That is not ours.
So make sure that you see the guy below at the beginning of the movie. So
I wish I had my hat.
Because if he's not in it, then you're on the wrong movie. So make sure that you see the right movie there.
It's the one with the like kind of red post like artwork.
Yeah.
Ours is the red one.
Yeah. Make sure, because there's another movie called Elusive on there.
If
it's also about cryptids.
And if you're familiar with Unsolved Mysteries, it's the logo.
That's the opening. Yeah, that's the opening.
I mean, I'm wearing the merch.
Yeah.
There you go. And I gotta say, here comes hey, mom again. Hello, Maxine. And I gotta say, I gotta get this guy up here because this guy is your biggest fan. He went to your website because back when we did the previous episode on Elusive, and he bought a bunch of merch from you guys.
Oh, was he the other guy like on the?
He was the other guy. It's Steve Shank.
Okay, yeah, awesome.
And he says, "Good to see TFG faces," but he's been wearing your merch. He's got hats. Awesome. He's got T-shirts and stuff.
He's got the Bigfoot Loves Corn Nuts shirt.
I love it.
He does.
Good merch.
He invested. He didn't just get one thing. He got multiple things.
I remember seeing that order come through. Yeah, that was awesome.
There you go. Steve, you're famous. See how that? Maxine says it's about time that we returned. Steve says, did everyone know that Bigfoot loves corn nuts?
They will if they watch.
Bigfoot loves corn nuts, man.
Yeah, you'll know all about it if they watch the movie.
Steve also says, I'm always the other guy. And we're getting...
Hey, that's
Walt's
my dad.
entire family is watching apparently. Jesse, and welcome. Thank you for watching. He says, glad you're back, and he's watching. That's good. That makes me feel good. Let me say a few things about it, and then we'll wrap up this interview. The movie's funny. Making the funny is not easy, and you land that. There's an unusual structure to this, which could easily be exceptionally confusing, and it's not. It's structured well. But ultimately, I think the biggest thing that people need to know is this is an actor's film. The cast is amazing. I mean, really good. And I buy into those characters. That's why I say that you really should harvest these characters and bring them out in something, whether it's a sequel or whether it's a web series or a television series. Or I don't know. I want more of these characters. I mean, you have something like Community or Parks and Recreation. You know, you have like these characters. You add 5 more characters, and you've got something that I would watch weekly. You know,
That's
I mean,
awesome.
it's an interesting group of people. It's funny. And you know, each of the characters is a little bit different, and ultimately, I want to say that the heart has the film has a heart, and it has a purpose. You know, a theme that comes in near the end. It's not all just kind of, you know, fart jokes. there's more to it than that. And
I see what you did there.
I know. And you know, I think you land that as well. So I mean, and it's free. It's on Tubi right now. You don't have to invest anything other than your time. Please support an independent film and some people that obviously put a lot of time and their own effort and creativity and their own heart into bringing you this film. I think you'll be rewarded by checking this thing out. You can go to the website below to check out more about it, or just go to Tubi, TUBI, and type in Elusive and make sure that you're on the right track for that.
I'll also say, you know, you can even see it on Amazon Prime Video.
Yeah, you can download it elsewhere too. It's streaming. You can buy it apparently for $4.
Yeah.
We have links to all you can watch it at stupidbigfootmovie.com. And
I promise you that your support of this film will be felt much more than if you go see the latest Fast and Furious movie. Okay, you know that they're not going to care if you go see their movie or not. They're taken care of. If you support this film, every single viewer will be felt deeply. Yep. So, you know, get out there and support something where people are, you know, trying to do something unique, putting themselves out there.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having us. This was amazing. This was a lot of fun. Yeah. You guys are great. This is fun.
Thank you very much.
One other thing I want to say is, what's next for the two of you?
I'm gonna go lay down in bed and watch old cartoons on TV. I set up for this. Like, I honestly, I looked at my partner and said, "Oh, I can't believe I have to sit up for this." So I'm gonna correct that, and I'm gonna watch some old cartoons on Tubi.
Awesome. Awesome.
Hey, you know what? I'm more than likely going to do the exact same thing.
Yeah, I probably will be doing that this evening as well. And Andrew, what's up for you? I saw on your IMDb profile that you have announced a new movie.
So yeah, that's actually the one that Nick and I have been working on since 2014. So I have no idea when that one's going to get made, but Nick has written a new movie that I'm probably going to edit. I'm going to edit with him. I'm not writing that one. But then I'm also working on some stuff for me to direct myself.
Cool.
Yeah. And then I just also have to acknowledge that someone commented, it's Sherry. She said hi to me and BradChad. I just had to acknowledge her. That's Nick's mom. And
here we go. Sorry.
Kind of a second mom to me.
I'm behind on my comments. Here you go. There's Sherry right there.
Good. I just had to say hi to her before I hopped out. She
thank you for watching.
So yeah, on top of bringing us Nick Sanford into the world, she was also the caterer on the movie. Nice. And I mean, she's fantastic. One of the best people in the world.
Very cool. I'm glad that some people from your show were watching too. That's awesome. Steve has some comments about the movie. He says, absolutely adore the movie, y'all. I purchased it at the first opportunity. So much fun. Proud to be a merch-bearing member of the stupid Bigfoot community. And he says, thank you.
That's amazing.
Thank you so much.
So there you go. All right. Well, let's see. How do we find each of you? BradChad, you just want to hawk the movie, correct?
Yeah, go see the movie. Me, I've got nothing going on.
Go to Rodeo Cinema and have him serve you some popcorn.
Oh, my boss isn't watching. RodeoCinema.org. Check us out at RodeoCinema.org.
You got to take these opportunities. You know, tens of people will see this, and it's important that they know about. It's important that they know about. Hey, I will go over there. I love independent films, and it's bad on me that I haven't been over there already. So hopefully I'll get to meet you in person.
I said to my boss, "Hey, I'm doing this thing," and she was like, "Cool." and then I was on the thing and was like, "Fuck my work." Yeah, no. RodeoCinema.org. It's totally cool. It's awesome.
You guys do you know anything about, I'm going to ask it. Usually as a host, you're not supposed to ask a question that you don't know the answer to. You don't have a pretty good, your website says that you're currently working on a new website. Do you know anything about that?
Who, me? My website?
No, see, I shouldn't have asked this question.
Oh, Rodeo. So yes,
Rodeo Cinema says they have a new website that's coming.
It is coming. You can still do everything you need to do on our website. It is still functional, but we are upgrading and updating.
I will grab one of my friends that likes going to movies, and we will come see a movie there.
Please
seriously, and hopefully I can find you and shake your hand. You did a great job.
There is a 79.9% chance that at whatever time you come see that film, I will be there.
Cool. We have a group that goes to see movies on Friday night. Maybe I can get that whole group to come sometime.
Dig it.
Yeah.
Dig it. We'd love to have you.
Andrew, we've got your Instagram account here. Is there any place else they need to go to find you?
The same handle is on Twitter, but I'm just never on Twitter. So Instagram is the best place to follow me. I think my last post, we draw Oreos on the floor, and Cherish called them Florios, and so that was the whole caption. So it's not a whole lot of meaningful content, but there is content.
Hey, to both of you, I want to say you've been great guests. It's been a lot of fun to have you here. And by the way, you're welcome to stick around. We're just going to talk about stupid stuff afterward, although we are kind of running a little bit later than usual. I know you're ready to get to your Tubi. But this doesn't have to be the last time that you're on here. If you guys have, if you have any projects that you have coming up and you want to get the stuff out here, we'll do the same thing right over for you. And if you have any friends that are in the business, they're doing something, whatever, please send them our way. We're always looking for guests, and you two were awesome.
Well, thank you. Thank you, guys.
And
it was good to see you again, Adam.
And if you guys just want to hang out,
you too, Billy.
And if you guys just want to come on and hang out, because nothing else better to do,
you're welcome just to come be a guest, just to hang out and talk about stuff.
If you want to talk about like Lord of the Rings, I'm all about.
We
that.
Do.
Yeah.
We
Lord
do.
of the Rings.
We talk about all that.
And BradChad, we've been talking about having an all animation episode too, where we just get a bunch of people in here just talk about our favorite
old animation.
You have my number.
Okay. So, please remember that. Well, we have 2 or 3 people lined up for that. I think it'd be fun.
I will. I mean it. I will straight up grind that to a halt with nerdiness.
Yes.
Yeah, because see, like Steve will get on here. I'll get on here. We had an animator on here a few months back. We want to get him on here. We just want to talk about old cartoons, things we grew up with.
Yeah, he's in like
in the 90s.
Where is he?
80s,
Colombia or something?
Panama.
That's right. It was Panama. He had better internet connection than any of us.
Yeah, he did.
What's going on there? He was like crystal clear.
Like in 4K almost.
Yeah.
Excellent.
I mean, like brilliant.
It's good to know.
Thanks to the 2 of you again.
Thank you guys.
You're welcome.
Are you both signing off?
Yeah, I gotta get going.
Okay, that's cool. Thanks a lot. We appreciate
it.
Thank
you guys so much. This was a blast.
And anytime you need some promotion help, whether it's on here or join the Task Force Geek group and please promote stuff on there, please.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Absolutely.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Have a great evening, guys.
You too.
All right. Thank you. Have a good one.
All right. And then it was 2. Walt, do you want to talk about She-Hulk, or do you want to hang on until we can maybe get Casey Jane?
Casey Jane will want to talk about this.
She does. She really wants to talk about that. And she had some other stuff that she just bought some comics and she wanted to talk about that.
Let's wait till Casey Jane's on here.
All right. Then in that case, what we're going to do is we're going to go right straight to On Blast. Here we go. It's been a while, man.
It has been a while. I actually acquired a few things.
Yeah, let's see it.
Despite having no money, I acquired some things. So first,
I'm just going to leave us both up here. It makes it easier.
Yeah. So first, doing some grocery shopping, and went to Winco first, and then go to Winco to get the food, and you go over to Walmart to get all the other things like the toiletries and everything. But you cannot go to Walmart without going through the toy section. So I had this, the Croc Master GI Joe.
Oh my gosh! Oh, he's got a Croc too.
He's got and baby Crocs. There's some baby Crocs here.
Let me put you up full screen here.
There's an albino baby Croc, and then there's this baby Croc here. But yeah,
well, that's quite a collection of stuff there. I mean, that's not just a figure in a blister pack.
And then at the same time, that same visit, I got this too. These were just last week that I bought these, but we've got what's his name? There you go, from Naruto.
Oh,
Kakashi Sensei, like the coolest character in the whole series.
Very cool.
So
he's got that headband.
Yeah, I will crack this one open this week. Also picked up a few. I got a Kickstarter comic.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, and you'll recognize it. Cthulhu Invades Wonderland.
Oh wow!
So
very cool.
I haven't started reading it yet because it's going to be one of my lunchtime reads at the airport.
Very cool.
Everybody knows that at my lunchtime I go sit outside the EFW airport and watch planes come and go.
What? Yes, you do. You share pictures and stuff. Hey, tell me, what size is that?
This book?
Yeah, it looks like it's a kind of an unusual size, or is it comic book size?
It's comic book size, but it's trade paperback. So
it's just
there was a bunch of other freebies that came along with it, like like there's the bookmark that came with it.
Nice.
And some other little posters, and I think some stickers.
Yeah, I like that.
Another thing, this is the last thing that I picked up. I picked this up at Walmart. Kaiju 8.
Hey, wait a minute. I gotta say hi to Ben Soto. How you doing, Ben?
Hey, Ben.
He says it's good to see you guys back on. We appreciate it.
It's good to be back on.
Yeah.
Feels good to be back on.
Yeah.
But yeah, I picked up this manga.
Thank you, Ben.
Kaiju 8. Haven't started reading this either.
Wait a minute. What is that? That looks awesome.
It's this cover alone is what drew me into it, and it wraps around.
Yeah.
It's Viz Comics.
Okay.
It's manga, so Japanese, and of course you open it backwards.
Oh, hello.
There's always the first 2 pages of color or so. But yeah, I'm gonna start reading this. I'll probably have to give you a synopsis later, but I bought it just for artwork alone because that's
the cover
roll.
sells me well.
The cover sells, and I'd actually heard about this like maybe months ago, and I pushed it out of my mind because things, and then I saw this. I was like, Kaiju 8. I've seen that somewhere before, or Kaiju number 8. Excuse me, Kaiju number 8.
Yes.
So, and I picked it up.
Very cool.
And that's those are the things that I've acquired since we were last on 3 months ago, almost.
Yeah. Let's see, what can I talk about? I didn't really prepare well for this. I was trying to I had 2, potentially 3 people that I had to prepare questions for, and I was going through their IMDb profiles and all this sort of stuff. So most of the time, the prep time I had was watching the movie, taking notes. I don't think I even got through all of the stuff I wanted to ask them. They have a cameo of a local television newscaster, which I will not name, who is in that film as well. And I wanted to ask how they hooked up with that guy, because it's kind of, when I saw him, it's like, wait a minute, that guy's legit. That guy's legit. It was kind of fun.
Yeah,
if you're familiar with the news in Oklahoma City, you will recognize this guy. It's pretty interesting. I won't say who it is. Let's see. Some of the things that I wanted to talk about is Bullet Train. Went to see Bullet Train. That was one of my favorite films of the summer. It's one of those things that I felt very strongly when we came out of the theater that people need to know about and go see Bullet Train. And I think that it's worth it I don't even know if it's still in the theaters, But if you can see it on the big screen, it's worth it. It's visually, it's very good. It's directed by the guy, I can't remember his name. He did Deadpool 2. And it has a lot of that vibe, a lot of that Deadpool vibe where it's kind of, lots of graphics and real punchy and funny and lots of good action in it. All of the characters, it's another character-driven film. I didn't know where it was going. I mean, it was like one of those things where you're not really sure kind of how they're going to wrap this up, and they brought it all together really nicely. I wasn't sure who was going to make it out of the thing. Steve has something to say about that. He says Bullet Train was a hell of a ride. It really is. It's funny. It's got a lot of action in it. It's philosophical in its way. Bullet Train was a really good movie, and I since we're finally on the air, I want to, push some people to go see this thing, because it's one of the, like if you have a new franchise or something, it's difficult to get people to go to try something and go see it. This is definitely worth your time. It was really good. Brad Pitt was so good at it. Aaron Taylor Thomas, did I do that right? He was really good in it.
He had Bad Bunny.
Yes.
Which by the way, because of his excuse me, because of his appearance at the Royal Rumble and this movie, he's snagged a role as one of as in a Spider-Man movie, I do believe.
Really?
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Steve says I think Monica watched about 20% of the whole flick. She doesn't do blood. It is bloody. I guess bloody quick.
Yeah.
It felt kind of like a Tarantino-esque movie where you're not sure who's going to survive and all this sort of. It's very punchy.
Yeah. I forgot to mention
Joey
that
King stole the show.
I forgot to mention that I watched the movie The Gray Man on Netflix with Ryan Gosling and
I have
Chris
not
Evans.
seen that. Yeah.
It's pretty good.
Cool.
I recommend it.
I want to see that. I like them both a lot.
Chris Evans plays a psychotic killer.
Right. Which is, that's cool. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to see it. It looks like he's playing a very interesting character.
A clean-cut psychotic killer.
Yeah. The other thing that I wanted to push, you don't have to rush, but it's on Amazon Prime right now, is a series called Paper Girls. It's based on a comic book of the same name. It is, I'm going to describe it as Stranger Things with girls. The young cast that's in this thing, it's set in the 80s, and it gets into, I'm just going to say, because it's the whole series, it gets into time travel and kind of all of the interesting things that happens with that. It is, it's a little creepy at times. These characters, it's funny. It's also, it gets a little dark at times where these characters have to, deal with some stuff. It's an interesting take on the question, what would you say to your younger self? Like if you had an opportunity to say, hey, whatever, study harder in school, or ask this girl out, or whatever,
that guy's ass.
Yeah. Whatever. If you had a moment with your younger self, what would you say to them? They explore that a lot in this series. And it's also got, look, it has a lot of science fiction elements in it. It's it gets very interesting. It's not just, girls sitting around talking about boys or something. It's much more involved than that. And the young cast is great. The young cast is actually better than their older counterparts.
Oh, wow.
Like the older people that are in it are not as good as the young cast are. They really did a good job with casting on this thing. It's a fun ride. It's, I think, maybe 8 episodes long. It's on Amazon Prime. I would highly suggest it. If you like, it's got some 80s nostalgia stuff in it and some other things.
You got me with 80s nostalgia right there.
Well, and they compare and contrast with like later decades. So, if you kind of grew up in the 80s, you're going to get a kick out of it, I think. All right, let's see. We have the Names Temple. So glad you guys are talking about Elusive. It's hilarious. BradChad absolutely crushes. Absolutely.
Corn nuts forever.
Corn nuts forever. That's great. Steve wants to put out the shout out for Spiderhead. Well, I don't even know what that is. Do you know what that is, Walt?
I vaguely know what it is. I know what he's talking about. It's on my list of things to watch on Netflix. So
I do not currently have Netflix. So
I don't know if I'm going to keep Netflix. So
you know what? I vowed that I would have Netflix from now on because of Love, Death, and Robots. I figured that anyone who is like season by season is creating like seasons that we didn't get of heavy metal.
Yeah.
I should be giving them my money so that I continue to get that, because no one else is. Who else is doing that?
Right.
Who else is doing it? And Love, Death, and
it's
Robots
definitely not going to be
so good.
It's definitely not going to be HBO Max anymore.
No, oh man, I want to talk about it. There's so much stuff to talk about that we kind of skipped over, and the reconfiguration of Warner Brothers by Discovery, and the new sheriff that's in town there is a huge story. I really do want to talk about She-Hulk. We have a new Game of Thrones series. We have a new Lord of the Rings series. There's a lot of stuff to talk about, and Ezra Miller is back in the news. I mean, we were talking about him, like,
yeah.
Every time I think that we've
back in the news,
every time I think that we've completely covered that subject, there's more to talk about.
Yeah, he's dominating that news there.
Hopefully, yes. I think he's trying to calm things down. I guess that Spiderhead is with Chris Hemsworth and Miles Teller.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think about what is it? What's it about, Steve? Tell us what Spiderhead is about. I think that's about it. Look, let's get all of your information out there, Walt. How about this?
Here you go.
Tell us where to find you.
You can find me on Facebook.com, WhatWalterCons. You can go to my What Studio Art blogspot. I'm on Twitch TV under Gatchaman_1. That's also my handle on Instagram if you want to find me on Instagram. You can also find my swag at Zazzle.com. Just you can go there and do a search for What Studio Art. And I'm up. If you hit me up at the WalterCons there, I am available for commissions. Super available for commissions. So hit me up.
So lately you have shared some stuff on your Zazzle profile.
Yes.
Like here in the last few days.
Yes.
You want to describe what those characters or those illustrations
are
like?
the Robo Girls?
Yeah.
Well, I think right now there's like I can't remember the discount code, but there's a 25% off discount code for anything you buy on Zazzle.
Okay.
So, cool. But I did my Robo Girls are two, you should say, manga anime style cosplay girls that are cosplaying as Optimus Prime and Megatron.
Right.
So check them out.
It's pretty cool.
Check them out.
Pretty cool. Steve says that Spiderhead is a prison. Hemsworth runs it as a scientist who is experimenting with a mind emotion control drug.
All right.
I'm in. That sounds good. And also, you just completed your illustration.
The inking?
You just completed the inking.
The digital inking.
Of your illustration the other day.
Of this right here.
Oh, there it is. I'm glad you had that at the ready.
Yeah.
And it's on the back too, folks.
So this is the digital ink I'm going to do next. Okay. By the way, if anybody is interested in purchasing this, I found my colored pencil, so I'm going to color this finally.
Okay.
And if anybody is interested in purchasing,
and you are selling that.
I am selling this.
It's a nice piece.
This, by the way, this is a wraparound cover on this comic, and it's an issue 1, so it's a wraparound cover.
There you go. Look at that. She's kicking across the page.
So
it's pretty cool. It's good work.
Yeah. I don't know how much I'm going to sell it for. I may take the best offer. So
OBO,
or I may put it on eBay. Who knows?
or best offer.
Who knows?
Steve says it's looking good.
Thank you very much.
All right.
For those of you who have seen the Elvis movie out there, that's for you.
It's available now on HBO Max.
Yes, it is.
There's all of my stuff. The reason why I have not been doing this show is because I went down to Dallas and shot for 3 days and got about 16 sets of photos in addition to 2 other sets that I needed to get done. And I've been working photos in addition to everything else that I needed to do. And that just sucked away a lot of time. So there you go.
You got a few illustrations done in between there too.
I have been doing, let me tell you something. I have been doing illustrations lately because illustrations are what makes me, like, it helps me chill out. The one thing that really makes me calm right now, and I'm like constantly fighting anxiety, is doing the artwork. While I'm doing artwork, I am in my zone and having fun, and everything is good in the world. So I am doing artwork right now. I mean, I'm doing commissions, but I'm also doing additional artwork to learn things mostly and to calm my ass.
Yeah, I just this past weekend I spent the most of the time cleaning up my house so that I could get motivated to finish that digital inking. So, and as you know, I did the Street Fighter, and I did a few other smaller things as well. So check them out.
Yeah. Get over there on, I mean, we're all kind of talking to each other on Twitter and Instagram. And by the way, if you're not on the Task Force Geek Facebook group, you should be, because we're all on there and we're all sharing our own stuff that we're doing, stuff about movies, television, comic books, and, please get on there and share your stuff. Please get on there and share your stuff. That's what we want. That's what it's there for. I don't know. People are like, can I share this? They drive me nuts. Is it okay if I share this piece of art? Yes.
Yes.
Is it okay if I share this Kickstarter campaign? Yes.
We want to see your stuff. We want you to sell your stuff.
That's what that group is there for. That's what
we're there for.
Steve is rolling his eyes at me. And Damon says, dropping in to say hi. He's got a new work schedule. 5 p.m. to 1:30 a.m. Wow, that is what, shift 2? We're going to call that shift 2?
I call that third shift.
Oh, third shift is like midnight to 8. I worked third shift. That's rough. That's not easy.
Third shift too.
It's not easy. And I'm a night owl, but I'm telling you, by about 5 a.m., you're ready to hit the sack.
After
even someone who stays up late.
After day 3,
your body says, yeah. And then you get home and you sleep until 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon, or 4 or 5. And even on the weekends, you don't really want to go out because it's morning for you. It's weird. Yeah. It separates you from society. It's bonkers. Anyway, that won't be as bad from 5 to 1. I don't think that would be better. But anyway, yeah, listen to us and chime in if you can, Damon. We want to hear from you. He says maybe next time we can sneak some earbuds in. Yeah, that's the trick. I'm also thinking about taking the audio on these and doing podcasts, but setting it up is the big thing on that. It's not like it would be difficult, but setting it up is like, a day or 2 of work. So anyway,
and that's more time you got.
Damon says he gets the weekends off. And finally, Steve says, good night, geeks. Thanks for a great show. Welcome back. He's going to pass out now, which apparently is what everyone is doing.
Yep.
Hey folks, thanks to everyone for joining us today. Thanks to director Nick Sanford for coming back. Thanks to Andrew McDonald, and thanks to BradChad Porter, who all joined us today. We appreciate that. Please go see the Elusive film.
It's on Tubi for free.
It's on Tubi for free. It's just going to take a little bit of your time to get on there and enjoy that film. And I enjoyed it. It's fun. Go see it.
Yep.
It's worth a look. It's worth free for sure.
Yeah,
get on Tubi,
definitely.
go check it out. Elusive. Thanks to Walt. Thank you for being here. It's good to see you, man.
Good to see you too.
And thanks to everyone who chimed in tonight. I mean, for not being on here for so long, I'm astounded by how many people, found us, because I figured that we would, get a lot of people going, I didn't know you were on last night and stuff. So thanks to everyone and thanks for half of Walt's family for watching us and everyone else. We appreciate it. We appreciate everyone chiming in on this and stuff. Thank you very much. So for Walt and for our guests, until next time, this is Dirk Hooper saying, dream hard.